I can't buy the air I breathe. I can't buy the trees. I can't buy the deepest seas. But it don't matter, 'cause they're there for free.
Hello and welcome to Around the World in 88 Tales. I'm David Heathfield here at the Royal Albert Memorial Museum in Exeter, and excited because we've got another fantastic story share coming up. I'm with a dear friend, hugely respected storyteller in Scotland, Jackie Ross. Hi Jackie, how are you?
Hi, David. I'm just grand. Fit like yourself.
I'm glad to hear it. I'm very happy to hear you're well. Wow. And I'm right here in Exeter, down in the southwest of England. But if we go up and up and up and up, we don't even need to get a boat, but we do have to travel a long way to get to the very northeast of Scotland. Can you tell us where you are?
I'm in a wee village called Lumfannon, just west of Aberdeen.
Fantastic, fantastic. And Jackie, before I introduce the museum object that's going to inspire our stories today, could I ask you just to tell us a little bit about you as a storyteller and why you wanted to be part of all this?
Oh, David, I'm just really pleased to be part of this project. You know, I've just been listening to Zuhair there, and he was talking about this human connection, the way the stories connect us. And through lockdown, I have had the privilege of meeting yourself and many of the storytellers that you know right across the world. And it's just been an absolute pleasure to listen to them tell stories and to get to know each other. You know, the world has become smaller over time. And for me, during lockdown, being online with all these storytellers, it's become like a wee storytelling paradise. It's lovely. So, yeah.
Fantastic. And you who are joining us, whether you're joining live or you're with the recording, please tell us who you are, where you're listening in from. And in fact, you and I met. Oh, was it? I was thinking, what was it?
I did one of your courses,
you
David.
Did one of my courses
yes,
as well.
I did.
And also, of course, and after that, we meet often in at the World Storytelling Cafe as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. Well, let's go to the object in question today, and it's a very special, beautiful object. Let me just find the image that I've got here. It's inside the museum. I can't hold it in my hand, unfortunately, because it's there in the local gallery, the local culture gallery in the museum.
Well, I'm excited to see what it is.
Here we are. And this is a boss or a wooden architectural feature, a carving that came from probably a church here in Exeter or locally, and it's a green man. So let me just explain. So this would be from medieval times. We reckon between 1400 and 1500 this would have been carved on a church building. As I said, we're not sure which one because it was collected by an Exeter-based Victorian master woodworker and stone sculptor called Harry Hems, and we don't have a record of where he collected it from. But it's not unusual. It is unusual, but it's not uncommon. Many churches in Devon, and not just in Devon, all around the country, but there are many in Devon, have carvings, and many of them represent a character we call the Green Man. And the Green Man often is surrounded by leaves and wood, and often from his mouth he is spewing forth foliage, leaves, green, bushes, flowers, fruit, and he's a symbol of rebirth, a symbol of nature, of spring and new life. And it seems that he's a very ancient symbol, because it's not only found in this kind of pagan pre-Christian, but then brought into the Christian church world in Britain and other parts of the world, but also in other cultures, other parts of the world as well. So you've got in ancient Egypt, Osiris is often depicted as green and fertility. In Norse mythology, in Sufism, in Jainism in India, you have temples with the green man in. So there's an amazing tradition across cultures, but it's quite concentrated here in Devon, and I just find it a very powerful image. So Jackie, I'll tell the first story and then you can respond. And the story that I'm going to tell, it actually is a story that comes from England and Scotland. It seems to come from that border region, and yeah, I'll just tell it to you. It's a story I've been telling for a very, very long time. Childe Rowland. Childe Rowland and his brothers both are playing with a ball, and there's their sister, Bird Ellen, in the middle of them all. Childe Rowland traps it with his foot, he knocks it with his knee. He kicks the ball over the church where nobody can see. Bird Ellen round about the church to where the ball has gone. Long they wait, longer still, but she does not return. So sad the hearts of brothers three with doubt, pain and concern. Long they wait, longer still, but she does not return. And the three brothers go around the church to search for Bird Ellen, their sister, but she's nowhere to be found. And finally they go to their mother. "Oh, my daughter, you mean she went around the church widdershins, anti-clockwise, against the sun? Then she has been taken by the green man, the king of the hill, and no one can bring her back." "I will," said the oldest brother, and the oldest brother sets off on his quest and the younger brothers wait. But he does not come back. The second brother leaves, following in his older brother's footsteps. Into the green wood he treads, but he does not return. And now the youngest, Childe Rowland, goes to his mother. "I will bring back my brothers and my sister." "No, I have lost 3 already. My youngest boy, you cannot go." "Give me my father's sword." And against his mother's will he reaches up above the fireplace. He takes his father's sword, undefeated in battle, and he steps into the wild greenwood. He comes to the cave where the wizard Merlin lives. To bring back your brothers and your sister will be the hardest task. Remember what I say. You must strike the head of every elf, every creature of green that you meet. And listen, bite no bit, nor drink no drop, until you all return. Childe Rowland sets off with his father's sword. Deeper into the greenwood he goes. First a horse herd, skeletal horses. "Which way?" The horse herd tells him. Childe Rowland looks at the horse herd's green eyes and knows he's an elf. He takes his father's sword, strikes the head from the horse herd, and it falls on the ground. And next along the way he meets the cowherd. The cowherd too tells him which way to step, but the cowherd too has skeletal cows, and he has bright shining green eyes. And Childe Rowland strikes the head from the cowherd, and that too rolls on the ground. And now along the path he comes to an old woman with a long hood. "Which way, old mother?" "To the dark tower of the king of the hill, the green man." "If you go there you will never return." "I must go. Tell me." "You will come to a dark tower. It has no door. Pass round 3 times, widdershins, against the sun. The 3rd time cry, door open, open door, let me in. But once you're inside, I cannot help you. And Childe Rowland steps away from the woman. Has he forgotten? He looks over his shoulder, and from under her hood he can see that her eyes are gleaming green. He takes his father's sword, he cuts the head from the henwife, and it rolls on the ground, and on he walks until he comes to a crystal tower that rises into the clouds, shrouded in mist. 3 times widdershins he goes around the tower. Each time he cries, door open, open door, let me in, and the 3rd time a door opens and he steps into the blackness. Slowly his eyes make out sparkling crystals of sheep silver, feldspar and quartz. Deep, deep into the hill there is a passageway. He treads deeper and deeper, and through a door, and into a vast chamber. The walls are coated in gold and silver, and a great green gem spins in the clouds above. There is a strange fog. And then, as it clears, he sees a golden couch shimmering, and on it his sister, Bird Ellen, a crystal comb in her hair. And when she looks up at him, her eyes are green. Oh, pity you, poor restless child, why came you to this place? Alas, my youngest brother, why stayed you not at home? Oh, woe, oh, woe the day that ever you were born, for when the king of the hill comes, your life will be no more. He sits behind his sister. Where are my brothers? She shows him their lifeless bodies on the ground. They are pale. I am hungry. I am thirsty. She cannot warn him. She's enchanted. She brings him the bowl of milk and bread, and he is about to sup. But suddenly he remembers Merlin's warning. Bite no bit, drink no drop. He takes the bowl of crystal and he breaks it on the ground. And outside he hears a terrible voice. Rise, rise, Childe Rowland. Rise, rise and run. For now I smell Childe Rowland's blood. Childe Rowland's day is done. And in strides the Green Man, the king of the hill. He is covered in leaves and hair. His eyes shine so green Childe Rowland cannot look. He wields an axe, he wields a club, and comes at the boy. But Childe Rowland draws his father's sword and goes at the king of the hill, the Green Man. The king he turns to a raging bear. Rowland, drive him back. The king he turns to a nest of snakes. Rowland, cut them through. The king he turns to an angry bull. Rowland, charge him down. And Rowland stands with the point of his father's sword at the throat of the king of the elves. He is about to cut the king's head off. But the Green Man looks at him. No! No! Childe Rowland knows that if he cuts off his head, the Green Man will rise again. But he asks, my brothers, my sister, I have defeated you. Give them back to me. And slowly the Green Man rises and looks into Childe Rowland's eyes, his eyes now a gentler green. You deserve them. And he takes a vial of red liquor and puts drops of the red liquid onto the palms of the hands, the soles of the feet, the eyes, the ears, the nostrils, the lips of the sleeping brothers. And now they spark, their eyelids flicker. They rise and breathe. And he takes the crystal comb from Bird Ellen's hair, and her eyes are no longer green. Quick, brother, sister, follow me. And they leave through that passageway, they leave the dark tower. They pass the henwife, they pass the cowherd, they pass the horseherd, and each time their heads leap onto their shoulders and they stare with green eyes. The green cannot be defeated. The wild will always be. They return to their mother. Oh, my children are safe and returned. Promise me, Bird Ellen, that you will never go round the church widdershins again. And on in the forest lives the king of the hill, the green man. So there we are. Childe Rowland is one of my favourite stories.
Wow. David, I can't believe you were able to tell that story in such a short time and to still get the full essence of it. That was amazing.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you. Wow. Well, Jackie, it's such an inspiring artifact, this. Look at that spewing of life.
Absolutely. Well, I am not going to be
green into the world. And with right now, as we make this recording, COP26 is going on, and we need to respect the guardians of nature. Stop trying to dominate it, don't we?
Absolutely. I'm not going to be as brave as you, David, though. I mean, the Scottish travelling people tell a story of the Green Man of Knowledge, but one traveller said, "Oh, it takes 2 nights to tell that story." So I'm not going to try and do it in 6 minutes or less. So I think I'm going to be inspired more just by the look of the image, and it's spewing out life, but it also reminds me of water flow and life in where I live. Obviously is associated with the River Dee, which is a well-known salmon river. Royal Deeside, of course, the Queen comes here for our holidays. But I think I'm going to go with a local story from a wee village just down the river. Because, as you say, this whole Green Man thing reminds me of mythical life. And up here in Scotland, we have Kelpies. I don't know if everybody knows what Kelpies are. No, well, the Kelpie is a mythical beast, sometimes called a water horse, because they live in water, rivers or lochs. But they can come on land. And when they come on land, they sometimes take the form of beautiful stallions, black horses with lovely manes and great strength. But other times they come on land as handsome men. And to me, those are the most dangerous Kelpies because, well, all handsome men are dangerous, are they not? Most Kelpie stories end rather badly for the people who get tangled up with the Kelpie. But what I love about this local story is that it has a slightly different ending and it makes it quite unique. So that, I think, is why I love it so much, because it's counter to the tradition of the Kelpie.
What language are you going to tell us the story in?
I'm going to tell it in Doric, which is my mother tongue, David. So
I know you're very active in promoting and maintaining the Doric language and culture.
Definitely. I think language is culture, isn't it? How we speak, how we communicate is all about our culture. So when I go into the story, I'll switch into Doric. I'll try and put in any English words where I think it might be lost in translation. But in a minute, you will hear a different voice spewing from me. Shall I begin the story?
Please do, Jackie. Please do. We can't wait.
Sandy Ewan, a boatman, was tying up his boat. He'd look it up at the sky and, oh, mighty, the clouds were black. There was definitely a storm coming. He could feel a wind rising, and there was a spit in the air. Aye, it was time to ging hame and hae some fine warm broth. Nae pint and biding on the river if there was a storm coming. The water would be oer roch, it would be dangerous. And the dee and spate is never a good thing. Well, the boatman turned to ging hame, and he near bumped into this stranger. He'd never seen a man afore. And the stranger says, "Will you take me across the water?" And Sandy's, he's a water shark, he's he. Nah, he's not going across the water. Nae a storm's coming. But he looks into the een of this stranger. And, he thinks, I canna deny him. I'll hae to do what he asks. So he unties his boat and the twa of them get in, and Sandy starts to row across the river. Well, he isn't going far. When the boat is rocking back and forth, and it's taken the boatman's strength to hold it steady. The wind is rising, the rain is howling and pelting into his face. His hands are cold, he can barely have the strength to hold on, but he rows and he rows and he rows. I have to tell you that as boatman, experienced though he is, he was feared. He was fair scared. But when he looked around at his passenger, the one stranger was sitting there as though he was out for a wee Sunday boat run. Well, in that very instant, Sandy kent fa he hid in the back of the boat. He knew this was Kelpie. Well, if he'd been feared afore, he was terrified now. Michty, if the river didn't get him, then Kelpie would. Kelpie would drag him down and down and down to the very bottom of the dee. He was a goner. But Sandy was a determined man. Aye, he wouldn't give up at easy. Nah. So he rowed as fast as he could. He would get to the other side and he would deal with Kelpie when he got there. Well, somehow they managed to reach the other bank. And Sandy, he was relieved, but he braced himself, for now it was Kelpie's turn. But the stranger just loped onto the bank and turned and says, "Fo muckle am I owe you?" Nah, says Sandy. I'm nae needing nae siller. I'll take nae payment for you. I'm just glad that we're both across the river safe and soon. And Kelpie ran away down the bank. But wafting back on a wind, Sandy heard these words: "A dee 'll be quiet and merciful ever, while you or your sons hae a boat on a river." That was nae curse. That was a blessing. And in the instant that Sandy heard those words, the wind stopped, the rain get quiet, the storm abated, and he was able to row back to the other side and tie up his boat, ging hame, and sup his soup. And he said it was the best broth he'd ever tasted.
That must be a very unusual to get the blessing from a Kelpie rather than to get a punishment.
I don't know of another story where the Kelpie blesses the person. Usually they're cursed, and terrible curses. But
he aided the Kelpie. He didn't. He didn't run.
That's true. I suppose most Kelpie stories, well, a lot of Kelpie stories, people capture this powerful horse form usually, and they make it work. And usually they don't treat it too well. So I think it is a good story. If we are helpful, then hopefully we'll get the blessings, be it for the green man or the Kelpie.
Absolutely. And it's just gorgeous to listen to Doric language. And we could understand as well. So I think you helped us a little bit.
Well, it's I mean, obviously English and Doric come from the same root, David, so they're nae terribly different. But it's mostly the vowel sounds, I think, which confuse people sometimes.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie Ross, I am so happy that you're part of this project. Thank you for being with us today and sharing this story from your part of Scotland, from right up in the Deeside, and looking forward to more stories. There will be more on Friday. So until then, bye, Jackie. Bye.
The trees, I can't buy the deepest seas, but it don't matter, 'cause they're there for free.